Nah, shout out to Jamaican women for sure. Yeah, bro, I have this thing of like I have a like in my heart like not a sympathy but an empathy towards single parents, specifically women, because that's kind of where I came from.
Yeah.
This is the Leo CLIMACO podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Leo CLIMACO podcast. My guest today is just a really chill dude. My man is a podcaster, an entrepreneur, Amari Bryant.
Oh,
we're going to find out if he's Kobe's son.
Man.
You know? I don't know. You look a little like Kobe to me, bro.
Hey, man. Listen, man. Shout out to one of the greatest to ever do it.
Yes.
Shout out to Kobe Bryant. Back in my first name is Amari. My last name is Bryant. They used to call me Amari Stoudemire.
Oh, really?
Kobe Bryant. ASKB. I've never seen it in person on camera, but
if Amari and Kobe had a baby.
man, right. But first of all, man, I gotta say, man, I'm grateful to be here. I'm honored to be here. Anytime, we're able to be put on a platform to share our story and just, really just have a conversation, bro.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. And really to see the progress that, this place is amazing, bro. Like,
thank you, bro. I really appreciate that.
The cameras. Like, I love people who are investing into themselves and, want to hear other people's stories. But, bro, like, I can't wait to see, like, a year from now. Like, I'm interested in a year from now. Like, how many people did you interview? Who did you interview? Like, I want to see you all over, bro. So I'm excited. I'm
appreciate
excited to be a part
you, bro.
of it, bro.
Thank
a small
you.
part of it.
Thank you.
100%.
We're going to beat it together. I know it.
Let's do it.
So let's start in the beginning. Where you from? Who are you? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah.
What was your childhood like?
All right, let's start from the beginning. So, where am I from? Where am I from? I am from Miami, Florida. I am of Jamaican descent. My family came from, my grandmother and her brother came from Jamaica to New York.
Nice.
And, she eventually brought all of her siblings over. She was the one of maybe 7 or 8 of them. And then my mom was born in New York, and then I was born here. And, I am the son of, my mom says, shout out to my mom. I am the son of a mother who had me at 14 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so Claudia and Hibbert, shout out to my mom. She's crushing it in the real estate game. Her and my dad own a school now. But,
that's awesome.
But she had me at 14, bro. So whenever she tells that story of, I had the child at 14 and, that's me. So I was her firstborn of 3 now. And that's kind of my backstory, my family, just immediate backstory. But, who am I? Man, number one, I'm a child of God. I got to give all the glory to him.
Amen.
But then also, I'm somebody who is constantly trying to figure it out. Constantly trying to find a way to bring value. Somebody who is constantly trying to, as we interact with people, I want people's last interactions with me to say, that person impacted my life in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
And
Brought some value.
Yeah, some value. And I think, the more value you bring to people, the better off you'll be, and it's like, I had this thing where it's like success. Everybody wants to be successful, but the true thing that we should all strive for is, how significant are we going to become in the world that we live in the world that we create? Because you can't really measure success because everybody's success is different.
I was going to say, people don't understand success.
Bro,
it's a buzzword.
Yeah.
They just throw it out.
100%. And so, success is something that, for some people, it's money. For some people, it's, I want to stay in shape. For some people, it's I want to spend time with my family. For some people, it's, I just want to have good people around, or for some people is I want to be a billionaire, whatever it is.
Right.
But you can never really, you can never really measure that because it's individual, but you can always measure significance to a certain extent, and so that's kind of what, I want to strive and aim for. And I'm not perfect, but, through the mistakes, through the lessons, we just strive to get better every day in the 7 main areas: mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, relationally, financially, and most importantly, spiritually.
Yo, can we give a quick shout out to Jamaican women? Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Growing up, I had a really good friend. He was actually the best man at my wedding.
Oh, shout out to him.
Yeah. Paul.
Shout out, Paul.
Shout out to you, Paul.
Paul, shout out to you, Paul.
He grew up with 9 sisters.
No way.
And a single mom.
Wow.
It was him, his brother, and 9 sisters.
And a single mom?
And a single mom.
Hey, man, shout out to him. Shout out
Shout out to that whole family.
Shout out to the family.
Yes. I've seen strength from those women.
Oh, 100%.
Tough women. I mean, just the drive to, like, relentless, you know? Like, we're going to make it. We're going to get there. Like, nothing stops them. And I loved seeing that. I loved interacting with powerful Black women who don't take shit, who are going after their dreams and are going to accomplish what they want. You know? So shout out to Jamaican women.
Nah, shout out to Jamaican women for sure. Yeah, bro, I have this thing of, like, I have like in my heart, like not a sympathy, but an empathy towards, you know, single parents, specifically women, because that's kind of where I came from.
Yeah.
And I had this thing where it's like, man, you know, so it's like a double-edged sword. It's like I do have empathy for, you know, women who end up becoming single moms and even their children. But then I also had this thing like, yo, listen, my mom had me at 14 years old. Like, if it can happen for her, it can happen for you.
Right.
And this is not the end of your story.
For sure.
And all it takes is just a change of environment. So for my mom, that's what it was. You know, born in Carroll City, Florida. Shout out to Carroll City, Florida. You know, had me at 14, but, you know, when she was 21, her mentor sold her house, and the real estate agent made a $40,000 commission. So my mom was making $40,000 a year at the time. At 21, just graduated from school. You know, I was 7 years old, and she saw this, a change of environment. She saw something, and she made a decision.
A light bulb went off
to become a real estate agent, because she said, if that person can make 40 grand, I can make 40 grand in one transaction. And so, you know, and that's just not for single moms or single parents. That's for anybody. Like, it starts with your environment. And before it goes to your outer environment, like who you're around, what you're around, it's, you know, what you read, write, and recite every day. You know, what are you reading every day? You know, what are you writing down every day? Are you writing down things that you feel like you're gonna become? You know, as you are, like, I am this, I am that, I am this,
right,
or I have this, I have that, right? And, you know, what are you saying to yourself? You know, the words are powerful. You know, there's power in the tongue. It says that in the Bible.
For sure.
What you say to yourself, what you say out loud, and the things that you affirm to yourself is what's going to eventually happen. So you got to be careful about those things. But, you know, a lot of people don't have the money, don't have the time, don't have the resources to go and change their environment, like go to this place or that place. But it all starts with what you read, write, and recite every day.
Did you ever read the 4 Agreements?
I've read it.
Be impeccable with your word.
100%.
Was the first agreement. That's powerful, man. Like, words are everything. You know, it's called spelling because you're casting spells as you talk. You know, that's why words are so powerful. That's why when you first read the Bible, when you first open up to Genesis, there's the word, there's sound, there's voice, there's a light. And God spoke, let there be light.
Right.
So words are probably the most powerful thing that we are yet to really realize how powerful it is.
100%.
I was watching a documentary yesterday about kids with autism, and they've discovered, because some of them are nonverbal, they can't speak at all.
Right.
And they discovered that some of these kids have telepathy. Like, no joke. They have this connection with their moms that they can read their mom's mind. Bro, it was a really interesting documentary from legit doctors who did all this research and actually interviewed all these different families. The producer of the documentary controlled the environment, selected an entirely new family to make sure that nothing was tainted, that this was really real. And these kids are incredible. They're blindfolded. Their mom is in another room reading a book, and they're able to tell you what their mom just read by hitting the keys on an iPad to spell out the words.
Wow.
Incredible.
That's crazy. Heightened senses. They always say, though, like when there's like something, when you don't have all 5 senses equally, one of those other ones heighten.
Correct.
100%.
Or we all have this ability.
Right.
And because we speak, We don't use it. So like a muscle, you don't train it, you lose it.
That makes sense as well.
You know? And because they can't speak, that muscle got developed within them.
As if they were speaking.
Correct.
That makes a lot of sense. Wow. That was a fun fact. I never knew that.
Because I do believe that we all have special, what we call special powers that we just don't know how to tap into.
Right.
You know? I feel like the brain is so powerful. Did you know this? If you get a tooth filling, you have the ability to intercept radio transmission, and you can hear that transmission in your head. Happens all the time. It's
Really?
a known condition. Yeah.
If you have a tooth filling.
Because that something, the metal in the filling is able to pick up radio waves. So that basically tells us that our brain is a receiver receiving transmissions. And we're just capturing ideas off the air. If that's true, then we're really in the Matrix.
It's like the movie Lucy.
And we could really do whatever the fuck we want.
It's like the movie Lucy.
Correct.
That movie is incredible. I think everybody should watch that movie.
That movie's crazy.
It's like tapping into like another dimension of yourself.
Yeah.
But that's really what it is. Like honestly, it's like they say in the Marine, is it the Marines or is it the Navy? It's one of the two where, you know, it's like a 40% rule. You know, whatever your body, whatever your mind is telling you could do, or your body, then the opposite, you can do 40% more. And I remember going through training when I was in college at Dallas Baptist. Shout out to my coach, Coach Flick. You know, I think he was the Navy, one of the two. But
Would you play football?
Play basketball.
Basketball.
So for like one off season or one preseason, we did like this training. It was crazy.
Bro, you're Kobe's kid. Tell me.
Bro, it was just a movie, bro. Just imagine this, right? For 5 hours straight, we're doing. I mean, we gotta go swim in the pool, and then after the pool, we have to go do this tug of war in the sand.
Okay.
Now we're all sandy and wet and cold, and now you know
These are basketball drills?
This is like this training to like
PE.
Yeah, but crazy, like just preseason
That's
training.
crazy.
And our coach used to be in the Navy, so we did this training. So he brought this guy in or whatever.
It's probably a SEAL.
Man, it was Navy SEAL. And then you know we're doing this training now. Now imagine you having to run all in the hills. Like our campus was full of hills, so we did uphill, downhill. We had to carry these logs, and by the time you know
That's awesome.
12 a.m. hits, 1 a.m. hits, where you know it's like 5 of us carrying like a big log from that side of the room to this side of the room.
12 a.m.
12 a.m. bro. Just like this is every week for like 5 to 7 weeks straight, and it was just nerve wracking. But what it teaches you is, it teaches you, number one, when you have more than one person, then you can do anything. You know, when two come together in a room, then you know it's powerful. But then also it teaches you that you can go beyond the extra mile.
Yeah.
You know, you can, whatever you really put your mind to, whatever you think you can do it. Because honestly, if you think it, you can do it.
Exactly.
Now you may not know how to, or you may not know when it's going to happen. But if you think it, then you can eventually do it. Now you have to put the other parts, and the pieces to the puzzle together. So that's just what it reminded me of.
You know, David Goggins.
Yeah, we know David Goggins.
Yeah, of course, good guy. So he preaches that. You know, when he used to run 100 miles, when he first ran his first 100 miles, he got to like 60 or 70, and he wanted to pass out. He had like shit himself. He was pissing blood everywhere. And he went to a whole new level in his mind. And it unlocked those 40, 30 more miles that he thought he couldn't do.
Right.
You know?
100%. It's like, where are we setting the bar at? And every time you do something, it's like you're setting another floor for yourself. Right? So let's say I can't run 2 miles in this amount of time. Well, if you do it enough, if you are bad enough long enough, you eventually become good at it if you choose to correct it, right?
But also, if you believe that, or if you don't, you're correct.
No, 100%.
Right? You have to believe it first. If you believe I can't run 2 miles, you're right. You can't run 2 miles.
Right.
That's what you believe.
Right.
Change that belief. I believe I could run 2 miles. and go fucking run 2 miles.
No, 100%. But then also, and also, I'm trying to do this thing where I'm not saying but, I'm saying and. Like, it doesn't have to be a but. It can be an and.
I like that.
So, and it even goes beyond belief because, yes, if whether you believe you can or can't, you know, it's like the famous Will Smith thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's true, but also, you have to put the actions behind it.
Yeah.
I think what we're kind of scared of or afraid of is, I don't think we're afraid of like failing. I think we're afraid of failing in front of people. Because it's easy to fail when there's nobody watching. But, you know, you're doing a podcast, for example. Yo, guy, I'm doing a podcast, man. People could say no.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I want to make this amount of money. Well, you can not make that amount of money. And we have to be willing for people to see our journey, because at the end of the day,
yes,
what people really want to see is they want to see 3 things. They want to know where you are.
Yeah.
They want to know where you came from, and they want to know where you're going based off of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so you can only get to those 3 things by documenting your process and putting yourself out there. Now, obviously, you want to make educated risk, and you want to, you know, as you get older, you know, you want to make more calculated moves. But at the end of the day, those who fail often succeed the most.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and that's what it's about. So it's okay. Like, I even went through that at a certain point in my life, like being not like, what is this person gonna think? Like, you know, but you know, at the end of the day, it's like, how I cannot be afraid to fail in front of people, because people always want to say, man, I remember, like a year from now, I'm gonna say, man, I remember when you only had a certain amount of, you know, views, or I remember when you had, you know, a certain amount of, how do you call it? You know, podcast guests. You know, I want people to say, Amari, I remember at your events when you only had 2 people, or I remember when you didn't have these many people at your events, or you didn't have these many people in your community, or, you know, and that's, you can't be afraid to fail in front of people. People want to see, not necessarily you fail, but they want to see your progress.
Oh, no, they want to see that, which is why I have that right there, the man in the arena. It was a quote, a speech given by President Theodore Roosevelt in 1910, okay? I'll summarize it. It basically says that those people who live in fear, what they don't understand is that win or lose, it is a more glorious life to be in the arena than to be a spectator. Even if you don't win, life is better lived trying than not trying.
Right.
Facing your fears than not facing them. It's a more fulfilling, more rewarding, more satisfactory way to live.
That makes sense. Did you watch the Gladiator 2 movie?
Fucking awesome.
It's a great movie.
Loved it.
It was good. I don't know if it was better than the first one, but
I don't know if it was
good.
better, but it was good. It was a good sequel.
It was good. It was good.
I wasn't sure about the actor, the main character. Yeah, I wasn't sure about him until halfway through the movie.
Right.
Like halfway through, he sold me. Okay, I got
sense.
you. I'm buying in. I'm buying into it.
Nah, man, that's what it's about, bro.
Because it was his. Well, I won't ruin it.
I mean, bro, this movie's been out for like 3 months. Like, go watch the movie.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it was the guy's son.
Yeah, the guy's son.
It was like a legacy thing, and you know, I mean, that's what life's about. Even in that movie, it's like, you know, he wasn't afraid to. After he saw what was happening, he wasn't afraid to put himself out there and be the one that create the change. Because at the end of the day, all right, Marcus Lemonis, right, the guy in the first, not Marcus Lemonis, that's the Prophets guy, but Maximus in the first movie, when he did what he did, you know, he was the person who sparked it, but then it didn't last.
Yeah.
So then years later, his offsprings come around, and because he was the spark, he didn't change everything, but he was the spark. It allowed somebody else to go and have hope, and
He ignited it.
right. So, but yeah, good movie.
All right, so I'm looking at you. I see Sway. I see S. I see that massive ring with an S. What's Sway? Break that down for me.
Sway is an organization, man. It's a conglomerate. It's an ecosystem where we encourage and we encourage people on cryptocurrency, encourage people on foreign exchange, and so Sway is an ecosystem. It's an ecosystem, and inside the ecosystem, there's different entities. So you have a Sway merch, right, or shop Sway where you can go and buy hats, shirts, the gear, like an apparel line. Then you have something like a Sway Funded, where Sway Funded is a platform where it's like a prop firm where you can go and you can access other people's money when you decide to trade. So like when you decide to trade in the markets, you can either trade your own money or you can use what's called a prop firm. It's like getting a credit card, right? And you can leverage other people's money. Instead of spending $2,000 and using your own money, you can spend $300 and get access to $100,000.
Got it.
And based off of the rules and whatnot. Then you have Sway merch, Sway Funded. We have the platform was called Sway Markets, but it partnered up with Liquid Brokers. So now Liquid Brokers is the broker where you can access and you can trade your money on.
Got it.
It's licensed and regulated through ASIC, the Australian Securities and Investments Commission. And it's a platform. I mean, when you trade, you can use any platform you want, right? You can use any platform you want. There's hundreds of platforms, but the reason why I personally like this platform, and I'm saying this just letting you guys know what I use and what I leverage as an affiliate of the platform. I like it because it's licensed and it's regulated. In a space, in the crypto space, in the foreign exchange space.
Wild West.
Yeah, it's a lot of unlicensed, a lot of unregulated, and I've been a person who has been bit in the butt, by those things, and which is, to each his own. You have to do what works for you, but for me, I love the platform because I've never had to worry about a payout. I've never had to worry about those things, and although there's nothing still guaranteed, you can be licensed and regulated like FTX, and it can still go down, but there's a less likely chance that it does that, especially with the ASIC, regulation. So that's the platform. That's the ecosystem, the Sway ecosystem. There's events that, I'm one of the hosts of the events. Like they want me to host their events, so I host.
You're a good host. I've seen you host.
I'm trying my best, man, just to make people educated or just have people have a good time. But yeah,
is this a project that you and Mike do together?
No,
Mike Sotero?
No. Mike is an educator. So he's a part of a company that educates inside that company. Shout out to my boy DeFi Mike. If you want to learn anything about DeFi and like crypto, that's the person to go to.
And we just had him on the episode. Stay tuned. End of February, that's gonna drop. Mike dropped so many gems. You're gonna want to take notes.
100%. And I've learned a lot from him. We actually started in business together. I was 19, we were 18. We were in network marketing, and we used to host events at my house, 50, 100 people, whatever. We were doing this for a while. But yeah, he's an educator. He's educated a lot of people. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people in the crypto space. He's become
awesome.
Very educated in that space, and he's an educator for that platform. As an affiliate of, I guess, the Sway ecosystem, we, on the front end of that, we do host networking events. So I help run a community called Secure Your Future Global, where we host networking events for entrepreneurs, business professionals, CEOs, investors, creators, people in that, tech enthusiasts.
Yeah.
So we've had a whole bunch of people come to our events inside of our ecosystem, and we host that. And inside that, we have now built a university called Secure Your Future University, where we teach things like how to build your audience. We teach things like how to throw events or hosting events. And also we have a free platform where we host, where we educate people on the crypto and the foreign exchange space. So it's free to be a part of it. It's free to get the education. It's very in-depth. So if you're a beginner, if you're an intermediate, if you're a veteran, you can learn from it and even learn the crypto space. And it's really just kind of the things that I want to learn. Like I'm very educated in the crypto space. I'm very educated in the foreign exchange space. And we just want to provide that for the people who come inside of the community. Just give it a free platform.
What's that site?
Just go to securityfutureglobal.com. It's hosted on WAP. Nothing crazy. But yeah, so that's what we have. So Sway is the ecosystem on the back end of, and Liquid Brokers on the back end of the education portion. But it's all free to get started. It's all free to sign up. It's all free to do all that good stuff.
What do you prefer to trade, crypto or Forex?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, here's the thing that, we have to really understand, right? It's okay. And this is something that I've even gotten stuck at.
Real quick, are you a day trader or passive trader?
Both.
Okay.
Both. So when you say passive, like buy and hold.
Yes.
So yeah. So buying and holding is not trading. That's buying and holding.
Well, I mean, like, you buy and hold it for 3-4 days, then you sell it.
So that's like called swing trading.
Exactly. That's what I meant to say. I said passive. I meant to say swing trading.
Yeah,
Excuse
yeah.
me.
So no, I mean, you're good. I like both, man, because I like it all. But I like both, but I like trading because at the end of the day, when somebody makes money, and here's the stats, there's only 19% of people in the world, 18 to 19% of people in the world that make over 100 in America that make over 100 grand, right? That's before.
How many?
Like 18 to 19%.
That's it?
Like 1 out of 5 people make 100 grand before taxes.
That's crazy.
So for people who look like me, and I am of African descent, I'm black, that number goes down to like 6% of those, of those people, or any minority, honestly.
Yeah.
But let's just take the bigger stat. 19% of people make 100 grand. Well, guess what? You only have so much money to invest,
Right.
right? Because if somebody invests $100 into something, it could be a house, it could be a cryptocurrency, it could be whatever it is. You have to wait until that goes up over a period of time in order to what? Make the money.
Yes.
And then you eventually withdraw it, whatever. But what happens is...
Not to mention inflation.
Right, inflation. So then what happens is, how can you create money? Because there's only so much money that we can invest before we run out of money.
Right.
Before we have to go and, do another job, before we have to go and get some more money somewhere, work some more hours.
Right.
So what is the next best way to create it inside the market, right? Is to trade it. So the movements are going up and down. And what we do is you can trade the markets. You can trade it up, down, side to side. Like, it just depends. If the market goes up, you can make money. If the market goes down, the big short, you can make money.
Yeah.
Right? And so that is
Do you short?
the Big Short, the movie.
Do you short?
Yeah, of course. We make money on the way up or on the way down. And the way that I like to do it is I like to use harmonics.
Okay.
So harmonics
I've heard of it.
Yeah, harmonics is a tool, is a pattern that you can use inside of trading that shows you pretty much price reversal zones. And it works really on the higher time frames, like hour 1, or the daily chart, even a 30-minute. And you would use like the 5-minute to get a good entry. And it shows you just price reversal zones. And it's, hey, look, at this zone, there's a likely chance that, whether it's foreign exchange, whether it's crypto, you can put if it's going down, you can put a buy in, and then it'll go up over a period of time. And then based off of how much you risk, how little you risk is how much you make money. So for example, a buddy of mine, right? He's trading, he has XRP, he's holding it.
Okay.
He bought some when it was a couple of cents. We've all bought XRP when it was like 20, 30 cents. But he's also trading it. So Ripple went from, I think it was like 70 cents to like $2.50 or something like that, maybe $3 just recently. But guess what? Instead of buying more, he decided to trade it. So when Trump got elected, or when he was winning the election, the day before he put a buy in for a certain amount of leverage.
Right.
And when it went up, he's up like $600,000 on that one trade.
Wow.
So
How much did he put in?
I think he started with like 10 grand. That account had maybe like 11 or like 10, 11 grand in it.
That's crazy.
Right, but because he knew what he's educated.
Yeah.
He knew what was likely going to happen.
Yeah.
He put in a buy based off of risk management, and now he's trading cryptocurrency. Just like you can trade anything in the world based off of your knowledge. You can trade crypto, you can trade S&P 500 as forex. You can trade, US pairs, Japanese pairs. It just depends. So yeah,
Okay, so your friend made a really big trade,
he did.
but let's set expectations.
Right.
If you're the average trader, the average day or swing trader, how much are they making about per day, give or take?
The average. So here are the numbers. 95% of people lose in the markets. And I believe that they lose because they quit too soon. I didn't even say quit. They
Back to that fear.
yeah. I wouldn't even say quit, but they just, I don't like the word quit, but they just
They
don't
stop.
They don't give it enough time.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have, your 95, 2 or 3% that break even. Then you have your 1 or 2% that are profitable. They've been in the market long enough. And so, I mean, $500, $1,000, but I would recommend everybody to get started with a demo account.
Right.
So let's say you created an account, let's just call it Liquid Brokers, for example, right? This is because that's the one I use.
What is it? MetaMax? Meta something?
MetaTrader.
MetaTrade.
Right. So let's say you use Liquid Brokers. Boom. You could, if you're overseas, you can use MetaTrader 5. If you're, you can use, if you're in US, you can use Liquid Charts or Liquid Charts Pro. You open up a demo account. You practice. You go and learn. Like, we have education. There's people out there that have different education. You can pay for education, whatever that looks like. Just get educated on, what is a pip? What is a trend line? What is support resistance? What is, all the terminology.
Yep.
Open up a demo account. Go practice. Because what happens is, it's the emotional part. It's like basketball, sports. At a certain level, every level you get to, the people in your level kind of all the same.
Right.
It's like how mentally better are you than anybody else?
Right. Back to Kobe.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing in this market. And so you practice, open up a demo account. That could take you a month to learn. You can take you a year to learn. Take you 6 years. It depends.
Right.
And then once you do that, you go and try it with a small amount of money. Whatever money that is, that's up to you. Don't risk money you cannot lose. And what I mean by that, don't waste your rent money. Don't never do that.
Right.
Stuff, right. And that's something that I didn't do.
A lot do.
When I first got started, for sure. And I was definitely spending my scholarship money on trading, for sure, back in the day, 100%. And then you practice and you learn, and over a period of time, you build up your account. You build up your account. Risk 2, 3%, 5% a day. If you lose that, don't trade anymore. If you make that, don't trade anymore. And then from there, you build it up over a period of time. And then I would say, once you get really good or you get better, go and get a prop firm account, probably a funded account. If you can, focus on those rules of that prop firm. Start trading how that prop firm trades. You can use whatever prop firm you want. And then from there, you pass the trades, you withdraw the money. You can get 80% or 90%, depending on whatever you pay for. And you just go from there. And then it's like a consistent, battle over a period of time. Now, is it hard? Is it easy? It's relative. Can it be very simple? Yes. But it'll take time. But once you learn the skill set, it's a skill set. And I believe that there's a lot of ways, because the ultimate goal, in my opinion, is to get as many Bitcoin as possible. That's a whole nother story. And there's a lot of ways you can do that. And one of those ways is through trading. Because once you're trading, let's say you make money. Let's say you take a $10,000 account and you make $1,000 on it. So you have $11,000 out. Now you withdraw $1,000. Well, you're going to get that money most likely in cryptocurrency. So that's another way to get Bitcoin, because now you can get it in Bitcoin, you can hold it, you can store it, you can use it, whatever you want. So yeah, I encourage everybody to be able to figure out a way how to, create money. And that could be with trading, that could be with podcasting, that could be with, building your audience.
Yeah.
There's things that you can do that won't cost you an arm and a leg. It'll just cost you time, right? If you don't have money, you have time. If you don't have time, you spend money, correct? Same concept in any industry that you're in. Not just trading, not just crypto, not just Forex, not just, not just podcasting, not just building your audience. It's in any industry. It's all pretty much the same. You can create money without having to go in, 9 to 5 your whole life, if that's something that you don't want to do. Now, if
Which
you're
most
comfortable,
don't.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're comfortable with, being an employee and, having something stable, do that. But then also try to figure out ways how to leave a legacy for your family. That could be trading. That could be getting a life insurance policy.
Right.
Right? I wish my dad had a life insurance policy. My biological dad had a life insurance policy before he passed away. I didn't want him to die, but,
Right.
It's 7 of us at the time.
Wow.
I was the oldest at 19. The youngest was like 3. Just imagine if we would have had $500,000. Just, hey, here are the guidelines.
Right.
You guys.
Pay for the funeral.
Right.
Split amongst yourselves.
100%.
Go buy a house, something.
And where we come from, you know, and it's not just a certain group of people, which it is, but it's also just people who, it's like an elite thing versus a non-elite thing. Like they're not teaching and recommending these things.
No.
They're not teaching you how you can make money on both sides of the market. They're
Yeah.
not teaching you how you can, you know, form your own podcast. Take some money that you made, invest into some cameras, some nice cameras, and now you can, you know, based off of other people's stories that you're leveraging, now you can build a podcast, you know, business, right? They're not teaching us how, you know, you can buy a life insurance policy and forget a cash value, that you can just have this so when your time expires, we all die, right? Now your family can be, you know, taken care of in whatever capacity. That could be 50,000, that could be 100,000, depending on who you, that could be $1 million, that could be 30 million, you know, whatever that is. They're not even telling you that you can go get a cash value life insurance policy, how you can borrow from this money. They're not even telling you how in cryptocurrency, how you store up Bitcoin and you can borrow from that Bitcoin.
DeFi.
Right. Shout out DeFi Mike. Right. And so I think just these industries is something that, you know, we need to be more focused on and just be more aware of the things that we can create.
Is that your mission, to get this word out?
I mean, yes. I think my ultimate mission though is to, and I'm no saint, bro, but I think based off what I believe in, my ultimate mission is to bring people closer to Christ in the things that I do and the way that I live. And I think even more today than ever before, that's the mission. So, you know, I don't have to be a pastor, I don't have to be a preacher, but just, you know, how you treat people, you know, how you know, try to honor people, how you try to make up for mistakes that were made in the past, you know, and how you know, do those things. That's kind of in my route on how to do that, you know, and, but yeah, besides, after that, then that's the mission. You know, I do believe.
Are you a Christian or do you believe in Jesus? Or both?
I think both. I think, so I do believe in Jesus. So I do believe that Jesus died for his sins, for our sins. I do believe that he died and rose up again after 3 days. I do believe that the only way to heaven is through Jesus, you know, is a sacrifice. And I am a Christian. And Christianity is, I'm not big on like the religious part.
Yeah.
But I am though, because, you know, I still go to church. I serve at my church. You know, we host events for our church at my parents' school, you know, and besides that, Christianity is more of like a walk of life.
Yeah.
More so than the religion. But there are religious aspects of it that if you choose to believe in that you probably should want to follow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I was raised Catholic. Today, I would like to call myself a Christian.
Okay.
But I don't think I can.
Why not?
Because I believe something that, or I don't believe something that's fundamental to Christianity.
Okay.
Which is believing that Jesus was God, was the physical embodiment of God.
Okay.
It's hard for me to believe that he was the embodiment of God and not. Okay, so I believe that we're all godlike.
Right.
Right? Christianity doesn't. Christianity believes that there's God, Jesus, and us. Mm-hmm. There's that separation. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a separation between us and Jesus. I think he was a man,
Okay.
one of us, but extremely, extremely elevated soul that was at Christ conscious level, which made him godlike.
Okay.
Because of his elevation, of his understanding of the universe and understanding the principle of why we're here and the purpose of his soul, he clearly understood that. His soul is a soul that has been through many, many, many lives and has evolved to the ultimate level. And there were two others who did it too, which was Buddha and Krishna. There were two other Christ conscious level human beings. So I don't think that makes him the physical embodiment of God. We are all the physical embodiment of God. They were just able to rise to a level that gave them unlocked knowledge and ability that's on that Christ conscious level that we just haven't tapped into because we're not that evolved.
So when you say tapped into, and I respect your opinion, when you say tapped into Christ-like level, in what ways do you believe that, you said Buddha and
Krishna.
And Krishna, what levels do you think that they risen to that Christ? What is the similarities there in terms of what?
The similarities are startling. They basically preach the same thing. Love. Love your neighbor. Love yourself. The path to peace and heaven is through you.
Yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not something external. It's all internal.
Okay.
Right? When he said heaven or hell, I don't think he meant a physical place. Heaven or hell is all in our minds. We create heaven or hell as we live, as we choose to, right? Mm-hmm. We have the ability and the power to create and manifest our own reality, and that could be heaven or hell.
Okay.
So I think he was someone who understood the bigger picture. He was completely aligned, attuned, linked to his higher self, to his higher conscious, to that Christ conscious, and that made him holy, made him godlike.
So do you think, so based off what you're saying, like I can put like Martin Luther King in that same kind of trajectory, right?
I would put him more in sainthood, like with Mother Teresa.
Okay.
At that level.
Okay. So
like almost there, but not quite Christ conscious.
Here's what gets me about like Christianity, right? And you're looking at Jesus. So when I look at somebody who I want to follow, right?
Right.
Because I mean,
by the way, I love Jesus. I read the Bible every single day. Mm-hmm. I follow his word. I follow his teachings. So just a disclaimer, just to put that out there.
So one, if you choose to follow the teachings of the Bible and the teachings of Jesus, then it's hard to believe those other things that you claimed, right? Because, and I would say this, when I'm looking at somebody who I want to follow, right?
Right.
Yes, you can, even in the Bible it says, whatever you write it down and make it plain. There's power in the tongue.
Right.
But there's only, out of those figures that you've named, there's only one person that died for 3 days and then came back to life. And so for me, when I'm putting my trust into something that I grew up in Christianity, right? Do I know about Buddha and Islam and, my godbrother's is Muslim. Like, I don't believe in that, but that's what he is. Like I see it.
Yeah.
He's reading those texts and, those books, not the Bible, but those books, right? And when I look at it, Jesus is the only one who died for 3 days, came back. Jesus is, and so when I'm looking at somebody who I want to follow, man, if I'm going to follow anything that is other than the earthly realm, right, I'm probably going to want to follow the person based off of the book, based off of eyewitnesses, because there's eyewitnesses for everything.
Over 500.
Right.
Who saw him
that saw him die, but then saw him rise again.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's what I look at. And I also say, man,
I believe all that.
if there's a heaven and a hell, which I do believe that there is,
A physical place, a physical realm that you go to after you die, heaven or hell.
yeah, I think I believe that there is a heaven and hell after we pass away, right?
So you do believe that like criminals, rapists, all leave Earth and go to hell?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
Not based off what I believe, because based off what I believe, there was a guy who was a criminal that was next to Jesus, and he said, "Hey, Lord, don't forget me when you get there." And so his heart posture was, I made these mistakes. I am who I am, but I believe that you can save me. And through you,
So you must repent.
you have to. That's
What
the
if you
only
don't?
way.
Then you go to hell.
I mean, I don't want to say it, but
Say it. That's what you believe. Say it.
based off the Bible and based off what I believe, yeah, I believe that, and to get to my other point before I keep going,
Yeah.
I do believe that if I want to follow somebody, I want to follow the person who died and rose again. But then also, if there's a heaven and hell, I don't want to not believe in it and be wrong. Right? I want to believe in it, because if I am wrong, I believed in something that was still going to help me become a better person. Help me become, a better son. A better, potentially husband. Better in business. I want to believe in something that has these principles that I can practice, that I can potentially participate in the promise. Because even if you don't believe in Christianity, if you go to the book of Proverbs, that's your life right there. That's your book on life. Whether you believe it or not, you can use those same principles to participate in an earthly promise. Now, would that get you to heaven? No, not based off what we believe. But then also, what was your other question again? You just said it.
Hell being a physical place.
Right.
Where rapists and murderers and bad people who don't repent.
Who don't repent. Now, if you don't repent for the things that you've done, and if you don't show remorse and just have a heart posture to be right, I meant to say, hey, God, I know I'm wrong. I made this mistake. There's nothing that I can do to fix the thing that I did in the time that I did it.
Right.
But my heart posture is, Jesus, like, I repent. I want to do right. Like, I want to, like, forgive me of my sins. And if you look at the Bible in the scriptures, all of the people that we talk about today were I mean, golly, like, there were people that didn't do right. People who gave everything to.
Do you know where the word sin comes from?
Where does the word sin come from?
It comes from archery, from shooting arrows. Mm-hmm. To sin in archery is to miss the mark. Mm-hmm. You missed the freaking thing altogether.
100%.
So that's really what sinning means. It means to miss the mark, to not get the point, right? I completely understand and respect your belief, and part of me has that doubt also. But I do believe that life is much simpler than that. I do believe that you could be a rapist, you could be a criminal. I don't think that there's a physical heaven or hell that you go to after you die. I do believe that your soul passes on, and you.
So, like, where do you go? Like, based on
you
what
go into the spirit realm.
Okay.
Okay, and then you reflect on your life.
Okay.
Right? You're basically looking at a book of this past life and how you did, and you are your own judge. You judge yourself on how you did. Depending on what you did will determine what happens next to you.
Okay.
So,
and then what happens next?
The worst thing that can happen is you have to come back.
To here.
Correct.
Okay.
Because you didn't get the point.
Right.
Your entire life, you sinned and you missed the mark by killing and raping and doing whatever the fuck you did.
Right.
You missed the point of life.
Right.
So you got to redo it.
So,
hold on. Back to my point.
Okay.
Jesus, in my belief, is a soul that has gone through that process so many times that his soul learned and evolved to the height where he was.
Right.
That soul was such an evolved soul from having so many different lives of lessons of learning and learning and healing and learning,
Right.
that it chose to come back down to earth
Right.
as Jesus to save us and help us and show us the way.
Okay. And so what I would say is that from based off what you said earlier, you said you believe in Jesus. You say you read the Bible.
I do.
So if you believe in Jesus and you read the Bible, you have to believe and you have to know that we do go somewhere. And this is based off what you said, right?
Oh, no, we do go somewhere.
And based off of the Bible, you have to believe that if that's what you say you believe, that we do go to a heaven and a hell. And
So-
based off of not
Go ahead.
only our repentance, but then also based off of our actions. So there will be an account. And God knows, man, I done made some mistakes. Some intentional, some unintentional. So I'm gonna have to account for those things. And based off of what I believe, I don't think LA is what's happening in LA, and pray for everybody that's in LA right now. I got people over there that I was just trying to call just now to try to make sure they're all right. See if there's anything that we can do. But that ain't nothing based off of what I believe eternity is gonna be. And I'm gonna have to have an account for that. And if I'm not repentant now for the things that I've done, for the things that, I may do in the future, and have a heart posture for God and believe, hey, God, listen, repent for my sins and have a heart posture. Because actions are actions, right?
Yeah.
Because a murderer is a murderer. God allowed people to kill people, right? A murderer is a murderer, but in what sense?
Can I add another layer
Yeah, 100%.
to this?
But
Go for it.
But I would say this. If you're reading that Bible, and I have this thing right now where I'm trying to become, I need to become a better Bible reader. So my goal is to read 3.26 chapters a day in the Bible.
You should join my Bible study class every Wednesday.
Okay, we could talk about it for sure. I want to understand the Bible because I want to have, when these conversations are happening, I want to have a deeper knowledge. I don't want to just know the Psalms 23. I don't want to know the Jesus. I want to know more of the Bible. But based off what I believe, if I don't have a repentance heart, because David was a sinner. David committed murder. David committed adultery. Solomon was the richest man that ever lived, not because he asked for riches, because he asked for what? Wisdom, discernment. God gave him everything. Kingdoms, the 12 tribes. He was ruler over all of them. But guess what? A woman or women were his things, right? In the Bible, it says, flee from lust. Like, it says, he said, run from it, which is a lot of our, he says, it's better to be married than to.
Yeah.
But guess what? In the Bible, based on, he's in heaven, and he was a sinner. Moses, when Jesus went and ascended after the 40 days, ascended into the sky in front of the disciples, well, guess what? Who were the two people that sit next to him? Moses and Elijah. Moses sinned a few times, but he had a heart after God. And God uses people, the murderers, the killers, the drug dealers, the rapists. Am I saying those things are great? Absolutely not. I don't condone any of it. If you're protecting your family, there's circumstantial, But it's like Jesus uses those people in order to paint a picture to say, hey, look, I know you're not perfect, but through me, you could be made whole again. Through me, as long as your heart posture is right, you can make it to heaven. Now, do I believe in prosperity, gospel, and all that? Maybe in certain circumstances, but it's a real fact that based on what we believe in, it's like, there is a place where those who don't go and those who do go, if that's what you believe in.
Right.
If that's what you choose to believe in.
All right. Another layer to this.
Talk to me.
So back to your original statement, I read the Bible, but I don't believe or agree with everything in it.
Okay.
Okay. So that's that.
Right.
Have you ever heard of soul contracts?
Soul contract.
Soul contracts.
If you give me the meaning, maybe the meaning, but I haven't heard soul contracts in the word itself.
Okay. So a soul contract is something that has been studied and learned by empaths and psychics and people, mediums, people who speak to spirits, that every single soul creates soul contracts
Okay.
prior to coming to Earth. Okay? So, for example, my wife and I made a soul contract to marry each other. Okay? If, God forbid, someone's wife and kids gets ran over by a car,
Okay.
that was a soul contract between that family and that drunk driver that ran them over.
Okay.
So basically, there's a theory that, let's say I want to learn forgiveness.
Okay.
I'm a man, I want to learn forgiveness. That's my soul's reasoning for coming to Earth.
Okay.
It wants to learn forgiveness. I made a contract with another soul to put me in a situation that forces me to have to forgive him. And that situation is him killing my family.
Okay.
Okay? So, but on top of that, we have free will,
Correct.
right? So, the purpose of each soul is to come to Earth, remember what your purpose here is, what is your reasoning for coming here, what are the lessons that you want to learn, and then learn the lessons through the way of Christ. Meaning that you should turn the other cheek, right? Like, someone kills your family, you shouldn't go kill his family. You should go learn from that lesson, right? You should go learn to forgive that person as a human being for what he's done, instead of carrying that hate and that guilt and that anger, right? So that's really what I believe. I believe that every soul is a piece of the eternal light, which is God, that's split into 8 billion different souls. And each one of those souls has its purpose and mission to come on Earth with their contracts with every single other soul that they encounter. And then we come to Earth and play. Now, do you remember what your contract is? Do you remember what your purpose is? Do you remember why you're here? Most don't. So most go through life missing the mark and sinning and just indulging on whatever, right? Looking for a quick thrill instead of going deep within, doing your work, doing your healing, dealing with your trauma, realizing who you are, realizing what your purpose here is, and executing it. I think it's all a lesson. It's all lessons that the higher energy wants to experience and learn through us.
Right.
And when we're done, we get judged by ourselves on how we did. And depending how we did, we either move on, stay in the spirit world, or we come back.
Man, listen, man, that judge yourself part, man. Listen, because if people were able to judge themselves, everybody'd be like, man, that wasn't no big deal. That wasn't no big deal. That's like the thing that
Not
I
if
have.
you're being true.
I mean, that's all perspective, though, right? Truth in that way is perspective, because I could think that we can do the same thing.
No. If you murdered, you murdered. There's no perspective in that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you raped, you raped.
No, 100%.
You know? And like, you're going to judge yourself for that.
Right.
You know?
Well, depending on who you are.
Depending on who you are.
I didn't do anything. I raped that girl, but
right. So
I raped that guy.
So here's your lesson, right? So if you are a rapist who you have not repented, you're gonna come back as a woman and you're probably gonna be raped.
Yeah, I don't believe in that. Interesting thought though. Interesting. I mean,
Because you didn't learn your lesson.
that'd be crazy.
So you'll come
gnarly,
back
but-
as a female to learn that lesson in a different way.
So based on what you believe that will you still remember who you were before?
What do you mean?
If
Like past lives?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I'm now a female, but I remember my life as a male.
So
In the other life?
So I've done past life regressions. I've sat with a hypnotherapist, and he put me under, and he took me to my past lives.
Okay.
My wife and I were married in the 1600s. We were in Brazil. We were Portuguese, and we were slave owners.
Oh wow.
I was the woman, and she was the man.
So this is like the movie. What's the movie called?
I don't know.
What
movie?
It's a movie where they were like older, like hundreds and thousands of years old, and you shoot them and then they don't die. What
Like
is that?
zombies?
Nah, man.
No, I'm talking about past life regressions.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Like he took me back to previous lives that I've had. I was a Viking once.
Yeah,
I was a
I'ma tell
Native
you the movie.
American once.
About the people who
I actually had to get a Viking tattoo on my back.
couldn't die.
The thing you couldn't die.
Oh, the Old Guard.
No, I've heard about it, but
Go
I haven't
watch that
seen
movie.
it.
Great movie. But I don't believe. I wouldn't believe in that.
We
And-
are
and-
not a body. We are a soul having a body.
Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
When you say you read the Bible, right?
Yes.
And I am not. I'm gonna say I am not a Bible scholar, right?
Okay.
I don't
Neither
know,
am I.
I don't know every word in the Bible.
Same.
And when you read the Bible, what do you believe in the Bible? And what do you? And you say you believe.
There are great lessons in every single Bible story.
So you just think it's like a manual to live life, pretty much.
Pretty much.
That's
yeah.
what you take it as.
Yeah. 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 It's a manual to live by.
Which it is.
Yeah.
100% is.
Yeah.
I would say this, man. And this, and as the older I get, it's like the more clear I am on this. There's certain convictions that happen in my heart that I know that is from another source, another power, which I believe
For
that
sure.
power is Jesus and God and subconscious and all these things. And the older I get, the less wrong I want to be with my eternal soul. And I guess that maybe comes with wisdom, that comes with
For sure. Maturity.
seeing other people die
Yeah.
out of nowhere.
For sure.
Stuff in LA that's happening, like people losing homes.
Well, that shit is crazy.
And it's I know that I just with my eternal soul, I'd rather believe that it exists and believe that I need to put more and more and even furthermore faith in Jesus, that he is the way, the truth, and the life. And if I am right, because ultimately we 100% don't know. That's
You
why
are
it's called-
you
that's why
are
it's
right.
called- that's why it's called faith.
Yeah.
And if I'm right, I have a chance to go to I can go to heaven, right? And spend eternity there, which to me, that's way better.
Amari,
than
you
being-
are in heaven.
And based on, I don't believe I'm in heaven. I don't believe that
This is heaven.
I don't believe that this
we
is the
can
last
create
place.
heaven here. Heaven is not the last place. Earth, there is no last place.
Based on the Bible,
we move on to different realms and eternal planets, and we keep going. The soul keeps going.
I don't think that, man.
Soul keeps going.
So based off of the Bible, right? And I pulled it up right here. I was like just jotting some notes down. And it says, right, the resurrection and judgment. The Bible teaches about a future resurrection, if that's what you choose to believe.
Right.
For, we all must appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each of us may receive what is due us for the things, while in body, right? Whether good or bad. So even if you do go to heaven, there's different thrones and different places for you to sit amongst those in heaven.
For sure, different
right?
levels.
There's different levels.
Of course, different dimensions, if you want to call it, right?
Right. And so it does talk about a new heaven and a new earth, right? Revelation speaks of a restored creation where God will dwell and his people in a new perfect world. And the verses that say that are this, Revelation 21:1. It says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away." Right? So pretty much what that's saying is that this is not the final resting place, but then also there will be a new heaven, right? Than the one that's already up there. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, no more mourning, no more crying, and whatnot. So do I believe that this right here is the heaven? No, I don't. I believe that this is a place where, based off of the sin that we have, that, it's like, we have our own free will to choose what we want to do.
Yeah.
And I do believe that once our time is up, we will have to account for all the things that we made, all the thoughts that we had, all the things that we did, from the little stuff to the big stuff, which are all big in the grand scheme of things. But I do think that there'll be a new heaven, that Jesus, all the people that are in the grave, all the people that are, we will have new bodies, we will have new temples, and there will be no mourning, no crying.
You don't think those souls come back to earth ever? Once you go to heaven, you're there?
I think there will be a new earth and a new heaven, 100%. A place where we dwell in eternity forever. I believe that, there's a hell. I believe that Satan dwells among the earth, because that's really the only place that he can dwell. Because at the end of the day, I think we're on Satan's playground, honestly. He knows he can't win against Jesus. And so he does things to perpetuate a lie. That's why there's abortions, right? He knows killing children hurts Jesus, he's a child. They don't know, right? I think, with the rampant, things that are going around in terms of, porn and, these things that they just suck, and they're diseases, bro. And, I'm no
sex trafficking.
Yeah, I'm no saint to those things. I've had my struggles with different things in my life, but I know that if I do put my faith in Jesus, and I continue to not only be a good person, because you could be a great person, and based on what we believe in the book, you can go
For sure.
But putting my trust in him and really focusing on that, and focusing on, putting Jesus first in my life, and doing my best to give that 10% to him. And I'm not even talking about money. I'm talking about 10% of my day, 10% of my time, 10% of my money, 10% of my service, 10% of everything. I think there's a great chance that when it's all said and done, despite me being a sinner, I can still be in the place that they call heaven. And so
I have no doubt that you will.
And so bro, this is me, man. I think it's very complicated, but I think it's very simple. It's like a
I know what you mean.
It's complicated. There's these rules, right? There's these 10 commandments. Jesus simplified it. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Right? What does that mean?
Except his wife.
Right. Right. But that covers all of it, because if I love you as I love myself, I'm gonna try to do the best thing possible for you to be successful.
Yeah.
It's like when I'm driving the car, right? At one point in my life, I was a crazier driver than most, right? Especially when I was younger. But it's like,
Been there.
I believe that if I'm driving in the car with somebody, they love themselves enough for them to do everything in their ability not to get in a car accident.
Right.
So by them loving themselves, I kind of know I'm straight. Now, there's certain things you can't control, but if you don't want to die today, I think I'm gonna be fine. To a certain extent. You can't control things.
Right. I know what you mean.
And so that's just kind of my take on it, man. And
I love it.
And people have different points of views. People have different perspectives. But I just know for me, man, I just want to be it's like I want to be on the right side of history. And based off what I believe,
I can see you being a pastor.
nah, bro, don't say that, bro.
I can see it.
You're not the only person that said that.
I know. That's why I can see it.
But I'm gonna tell you this, right? And
Do you? I feel like you want to, but don't.
So I had a prophet tell me one time. He said, Amari, you will lead people to Jesus in ways that are like unconventional. Like you won't be a pastor. Not to say that I won't, but you said you won't probably do it in a pastoral way. So I that's something that I've kind of taken to heart. But then also I want to say this, and I believe that God speaks to us through people, in other ways as well. But
for sure,
I think one of the main ways is through people, and through like kind of what ifs. Like this is what you can have, right? And in 2018, this is the second time I'm telling this on camera. In 2018, I was coming off a plane. I was going to Vegas to have a good time. You know,
Vegas.
Vegas is Vegas, baby. I was coming off a plane, and I was sitting next to this lady. I fell asleep. I always fall asleep on the flights. Got off the plane. I stopped, like, right. You know, when you get off the plane, you kind of just stop to figure out.
Yeah, where you going?
Yeah, where I'm going. She came off the plane. She was like, listen, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you do. But I felt as if God is telling me to tell you that he's ready for you. Like he's ready for you when you're ready.
Wow.
This is 2018. And
Out of fucking nowhere.
Out of nowhere, bro. And I fast forward to today in 2025, and I look at my life, not to say that I'm not where I want to be, but I can honestly say if I would have taken heed and taken that more seriously, I would be further in my spiritual life. I would be further in my relational life. I probably would be married right now with kids.
He was ready for you, but you still weren't ready for him.
And I was ducking and dodging. You know, there's certain things that have happened in my life. For example, the church that I go to now, my way into that church was because one of my friends who I grew up with, he led what's called a crew, like a small group like this, you know, where we're like a Bible study. And the only way he can get to church to serve on Sundays was because I would pick him up and I would take him. So what did that do for me?
Made you go?
That made me go. Cause I love this. I love this guy.
Yeah.
Like I grew up with this guy. I'm not gonna. Let's go. During the pandemic and all, you know, just to keep me closer to fire. You know, I'll say this. There was a girl that I was talking to that was, you know, very high up in the church or whatever. And even like the doubts of me being good enough for her, right? Based off my past, based off of what I thought wasn't good enough.
Right. Or acceptable, right?
Acceptable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I never killed anybody or anything, but,
No, yeah.
you know, it's like, you know, she's like amazing. It's like, man, I had an opportunity to make it happen. I didn't run from it, but I was uncertain about it. So I wanted to give it more time. So maybe I can measure up and become whoever I need to become to serve that purpose. No, that was God telling me, yo, listen.
You're already enough.
You're already enough. You don't have to be perfect. You know, there's certain situations in my life that have happened where when I look back, I'm like, man, this was God talking to me through other people telling me, hey, Amari, you can use your story, how, you know, your dad got murdered at when you were 19 years old, how your mom had you at 14, how, you know,
it's all for a reason.
You've done this, you've done that. You can use your story to be able to bring people closer to me. You don't have to be perfect. And I think that's another thing that the devil does to dilute your importance to the people around you. It's like making you feel like you're not good enough, making you feel like, the comparison thing, making you feel like, oh, you're not in this position, you don't have this, you don't have that,
Do you know what this is?
it's a hammer.
Whose hammer?
Doors.
What must you be to be able to lift it?
You got to be special.
You gotta be worthy.
Worthy. That's a good word.
There you go. Hold this, please.
That's a word.
Share with me and the people, what does worthiness mean to you? What does value mean to you? When did you discover your value and your worthiness? And what would you tell someone who is lacking worthiness?
All right. So the first part of that, where did I discover I am worthy? I think for me, it's always a battle. Bro, I think for me, bro, it's a battle, man. It's a battle to really, because I feel like I'm getting a little emotional, dog.
Please, get emotional.
Get me, man. Don't get me today.
The algorithm loves people crying.
Yeah, I feel like it's some worship music playing right now. Nah, man, I feel like, when it comes to me being worthy, bro, I know I'm good enough, right? I know it. There's still certain things that I have to battle every day, man. I got to battle comparison. I battle comparison. I battle the fact that, had I made a few decisions this way or that way, or a few moves this way, been a friend to that person, cut this person off earlier, or made this move sooner, I would be at a certain place. Comparison, So I think it's an ongoing battle. I think, for just to be honest, it's an ongoing battle to not know that I'm not that I don't know that I'm good enough, but for it not to be something that like I have to second guess. And I think that comes, from based on what we believe in. Honestly, is at the end of the day, you're God's child. God made you in his image. You're not God, but he made you in his image. He created you. He didn't create animals we have dominion over everything. That's how we were created. That's why man makes everything. That's why we name everything. This is why we create everything on the earth, right? And so it's a battle, bro. So, it's every day. It's every day just knowing and just telling yourself and affirming to yourself that, if you think you can believe it, if one person did it, you can do it better. You can do it faster. That you are important to somebody's story, not only your own. I would say to those out there listening, I call it the yes theory. Your yes to something is unlocking somebody else's yes. From you doing this podcast, it's even affirming to me even more like, yo, Leo, like, he could do it, I could do it. Like I'm inspired right now.
Amen.
And for people out there, I would just say you are enough. You are enough. You are the person that you dreamed of being. You're becoming that person. Time just hasn't caught up yet, but when time catches up, you already, you're there. You already have it. It's already done. And I think there's something that we all battle with, bro. Like are you worthy enough? But then again, what is worthy? Like, what is that?
We're all worthy.
We're all worthy.
We're all worthy. And we're all exactly where we need to be.
We're all exactly where we need to be. And every lesson that we go through, every place that we should have been, you're supposed to be here at this exact moment.
Yeah.
At this exact time.
It's all lessons.
It's all lessons.
It's got to learn from them.
100%.
And you're doing a good job, bro.
I appreciate it, man. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. And so this is why I encourage everybody to tell their story.
Yes.
Whether it's on a phone, whether it's to your friend, like, document your process. Tell your story. Build your audience, because
show them you're worthy.
Right. And it's because, bro, and I was telling them earlier, I know we gotta finish here soon. I was telling them earlier, like, there's people that relate to me that can't relate to you.
Right.
It has nothing to do with you.
No.
That's just what it is.
You sound better to them than I do.
Right. It's
100%.
people who relate to you that can't relate to me.
Right.
I was telling, Connie over there, Connie, right? I was saying, she was like, man, but everybody's doing it. And I was like, but you're not. What about you doing it, right? I'm not. Like, there's only one me. There's only one you. There's only one you.
Correct.
And even if you have a twin or a triplet,
Doesn't
You're
matter.
that one person.
Yes.
And so, that's what I believe, man. And, everybody's worthy, bro. And you're going to battle it sometimes. People that's going through depression. There's people that's going through, but there's somebody out there that needs you to be here in order to help them. You're not really doing it for you. Yes, you're doing it for you. Right. Or you're doing it for the people who, when it's your time to go, they can look back and say, man, this is the blueprint. Or whatever it is that you're doing. This is for the person who may not feel hopeful. You're documenting your process. Now, you're like, yo, I look like him. I got the same story. My mom had me at 14 or a teenager as well. Like, if he can go and do these things, if she can go and do these things, then I can do it.
Exactly.
There's this person with that has an autistic child, or this person who has a speech impediment. Like Moses had a speech impediment. He couldn't talk.
Yeah.
He might have the biggest story in the Bible. And those, the crazy part about life, bro, is those with the most inefficiencies create the most impact.
Isn't that crazy?
Always. It's never the perfect person. It's always
the most pain.
Bro, it's more relatable.
Yeah.
And that's why, people relate to the person who to the people who they said they couldn't, but they did. All because they put themselves out there. So that's what I would encourage. If I'm encouraging anybody out there, I want to let you guys know that you're worthy, you're enough, you're strong enough, you're big enough, you're tall enough, you're smart enough, you're intelligent enough, and that you can do it. If you can think it, it can be done. If you can write it down, it's already done. If you can say it, time just has to catch up. So that's it, man.
That's beautiful. Where can the people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Leo's podcast.
Damn straight. Damn straight.
Yeah, man, you can follow me on all platforms. It's Amari A.B. Bryant. Some platforms, amari.ab.bryant. You can follow our community at Security Future Global. Hopefully, you can be a part of our ecosystem. You go to securityfutureglobal.com and then just, watch this podcast and, don't be afraid to create your own story and document your process. And I want to say thank you, bro, for having me on. This was amazing, bro.
Thank you, bro. This is awesome, right?
Every moment of it.
This is incredible.
This is good.
Great conversation. I really had no idea where it was going to go, and I love where it went.
Bro, it's crazy. People, like, I interviewed somebody yesterday, and I had these questions, right? I did an online interview. I had these questions. I didn't ask none of the questions. We just had a conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the world that we live in now is leaning more towards, conversations. You don't
long form.
Right. I don't know if you know it or not too, but what you're doing here is you're building a community of people.
Oh yeah.
I think communities are going to be very important in going from 2025 on.
I agree.
This is like the loneliest people have ever been. People need community.
Isn't that crazy? There's so many people on the planet, and this is the loneliest we've been.
Bro, we're and the crazy part is we're so connected. Like I can connect with millions of people just with one post.
Yes.
This,
but we don't do this anymore.
This right here.
Yeah.
And, I'm happy to grow up in a time. How old are you, Leo, if you don't mind me asking?
36.
You're 36?
Yeah.
I thought you were like 31, 32.
I appreciate that.
It's all good.
Thank you.
I'm 30, so just turned 30 in July. Well, I guess not just like mad months ago. But anyways. Yeah.
I'll be 37 in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Oh, what are you doing for your birthday?
No plans yet.
Yeah, go travel somewhere. Throw a party here. But we grew up in a time where we're like they said we're like the last generation to know what it's like without cell phones or without like social media.
Correct.
Like even when I had my cell phone in like 6th grade, I could do 3 things on it: call my mom, text my mom, and play Snake on my little Nokia device. Mm-hmm. I think we're losing the substance of being able to shake hands, being able to look somebody in their eye, being able to just move off of body language. Somebody doesn't have to say nothing, but based off of the body language is how you should react or respond.
Right.
And that's very important in today's society where everything's going AI, everything is going, artificial intelligence, which progression is progression.
Yeah.
But there's going to be those who build communities are going to be even that much more important.
Correct.
In like IRL, real life community. So
yeah. And those that are present in that community
100%.
Excel even more.
And that's why we started hosting networking events.
There we go.
There you go.
Let them know when.
The next one is today, but this won't come out in time, probably.
Yeah, it won't. It will not. Sorry.
But I mean, we have them all. We have them all the time. You know, we're expanding. So the first year, and before we end the first year in 2023, we did 4 events. They were all on boats. I had a boat, a buddy who I went to college with. He had a boat connect, so we just did it there.
Cool.
That went dope. Then we did one during Art Basel, and this past year in 2024, we hosted about 20 events.
Wow.
All over. You know, we even did 2 in Atlanta. We did 1 in DC. We did 1 in.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then now, you know, it's like, you know, we want to expand. You know, we want to expand and do more events, do more in real life meetups in different cities. You know, we got hopefully on the 15th we have 1 in LA.
Okay.
Hopefully that goes well. You know, we're gonna pray for them.
Not looking too good right now.
Nah, man, it's crazy, bro. What do you?
I'm just being
What do
real.
you think about that, bro?
I don't know, bro. I think it's crazy. I think it's a combination of wildfires and people setting the fires.
But I also think it's a lot of like when you dig deeper into it, it's a lot of outside factors. Like, you know, when, you know, a lot of people are saying that the insurance companies, right, they took away the insurance.
I find this specific, and then I find it interesting how this is specifically targeting rich people. All the celebrities, all their homes got burned down.
That's where it is, huh?
Yeah. Beverly Hills, Palisades
is where
Malibu.
Those are higher income.
Yes. Yeah, multimillionaires. Yeah. Paris Hilton's house burned down.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. And then when you look at the insurance thing, it's like, yeah, the insurance companies backed out because the government didn't allow them to raise prices. But I'm like, man, but like, it's like Florida, man. Like even Florida, like we have I think we're the highest state, or the state with the highest amount of premiums.
Hurricane
premium, right? It's crazy. Like
and flood too.
You can't even get insurance nowadays.
No.
Because the insurance companies can't even pay out the money.
It's crazy.
Because they have to pay out the money. So they can't pay out the money because there ain't no money. It's not enough.
Right.
Not enough people paying into the premiums and not enough time going by when things aren't happening.
And there are too many homes to fix.
Right. It's like, okay, yeah, we know in California, but what is the solution though? Like, is there?
I have no idea.
What is the solution? Because
we're gonna figure out how to transfer rain from
and fires are gonna burn.
Exactly.
I mean, houses are gonna burn in LA. It's been happening forever.
Yeah.
Earthquakes gonna happen.
Take the floods from Florida and dump it in California.
That'd be amazing, right? And then they didn't even have enough responders to like help out.
Well, the mayor cut the budget of the firefighters by $17 million. Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
For fires.
It's a lot of money.
Here's the thing. Here's what I believe. I think that as a society, as a nation, that we have to come up with preventative solutions. There's like, I feel like there has to, we have to get back. Capitalism is great.
Yeah.
Amazing. You can come to this country, make a lot of money. But at the end of the day, what about the humans? What about like, you mean to tell me that we're making so much money, we paying 50% taxes, all these things, and we can't.
Oh, it's crazy.
We can't provide some type of preventative measures to where if there is a fire somewhere where it doesn't.
We can pay for everything, we choose not to.
And that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Like, how is our roads still, like countries like China and Dubai, their roads are just amazing.
Bro, they rebuilt that shit overnight.
Bro, technology is amazing.
It's crazy.
How are we supposed to be the best country in the world when we have so many things that's wrong with us?
Let's see what happens in the next 4 years. Let's see what he does.
Like,
let's see what he does.
Okay, Trump's in office, right?
Let's see what he does.
But like, what? Like, does he even have a say so?
Well, he's gonna have all 3 houses,
right? And as a Republican,
so he's have a lot of power.
Let's hopefully
he can put a lot of bills through, infrastructure bill. He can do all that. Let's see what he does.
And then, like, is it going to happen in 4 years? Because we're going to have another change in 4 years.
Well, we'll see. Maybe his vice president will become president. We'll see.
I'm excited for the possibilities, though.
Yeah.
There's always something to learn. And, man, thank you for having me on, bro. Appreciate you.
Bro, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming.
Let's do it.
This is dope. All right, guys. Go follow Kobe Bryant's son.
Shout out Cole.
Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you guys next time.